Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and we're continuing to work on the Forest album. And this is page 2, and I just want to remind everyone, you should be building everything on top of a pocket page. If you have not constructed your pocket page, stop, go back to the playlist. The second video is the base album build, which covers the spine, the cover, and the 4 pocket pages that go inside. Everything I'm covering here is based on having that pocket page already made. So we're on page 2, and page 2 is going to have a double pocket that's going to have inserts that go from the left and right. And this double pocket is, you're going to start with a piece of 6 by 7, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on either side of the 7-inch side. So score it a 1/2 inch and 6 1/2, and then when you fold it over, you should wind up with a 6 by 6 square finished panel that's going to lay down like so. So you'll need tape on those 2 flanges. And then centered on top of that, we are going to have a left and right flap that are going to open like so. Excuse me. And these flaps are 4 1/2 by 6, 4 1/2 by 6, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 4 1/2 side. You need to. Okay, I thought I had tape on here. I don't, so I'm going to sit down and get that going. And I have another sneeze. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry about that. So, all right. Okay, so a couple things I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is I'm going to make a mark on the center of this page and a mark on the center of this, and I'm going to line those 2 tick marks up to help me with the placement. So let's do that right now. Ooh, somehow I don't have my ruler in here, so I'm going to work off my grid. So this the finished pocket page is 8 inches, so my center line is going to be at 4. So I'm just going to put a nice small mark there at 4, and it's going to get covered up by the pocket, so it's really not that important. And 4. So those are my little tick marks. And now I'm going to do the same thing here. It's going to get installed this way with the flanges down, but I want to create a little mark on the center of this so I can locate it nicely. So this is 6 inches across, so I'm going to put a mark at 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom for my center line, and that should do it. Okay, so now I'm looking to line these 2 marks up. Whew, having a hard time talking today. And I'm just going to start by taking a little tab off and use that kind of as a pivot point. That looks right. And press that into place. Now I'm going to flip it over and look at the other side, make sure it looks lined up. It actually should come up a little. Okay, flip it around. Perfect. Okay. And now we can open it up and do the same thing. Okay, so there is our double part. Oops, I forgot something. I was going to run a glue line down the center, so now I got to think about what I want to do. That wasn't very smart of me. Let me see if I can't lift it since I haven't burnished it. I'm going to use my spatula. Sorry about that, guys. So before you lay it down, we want to lay down a bead of glue that runs right down the center. And this just keeps my inserts from going all the way across to the other side. And because I did this, since I made this mistake, I'm not going to lift the whole thing. All I really need is enough glue in here to keep things from sliding back and forth. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'll hold that there so it doesn't touch. But I should have laid when I opened it up, I should have put my strip of glue and then laid it over. And this is easy for me to see because I've got that little tick mark here. So I'm just going to follow that line. And put there so that I've got a strip of glue right there now. So sorry about that. Hopefully you didn't make the same mistake. Okay, now when I slip something into this pocket, that glue line's going to keep it from traveling across to the other side. Okay, now I'm going to turn everything right side up again. Now these two flaps are going to get installed left and right, centered. So again, I have my tick mark here from earlier so I can still see it. But what I need to do now is find my middle point here. So this is 4 inches wide. So I'm going to put a little mark at 2. 2 inches. And there I'm going to be able to line that up. And you only need to do it on one because this one's going to get lined off this edge. Okay? Again, these are 4.5 by 6. You're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 4.5 inch side. Okay, I'm going to turn it over so I can see this edge before I lay it down. I should have done a tick mark on this side too. Doot, doot, doot. I think, yeah, okay. There we go. Now that's straight. So all I was doing is making sure this edge is flush and then laying it down. Now we can lay in the second one. We're going to open the flap, rest the hinge on the open flap, and close it to find its location. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off now. Or the backing, tape backing. I'm going to rest this on the open flap with the hinge on overlapping. I'm going to make sure it's the right distance up and down, and then I'm just going to close the flap and tuck that in, press it into place. There we go. So that is it for page 2 in terms of the interactive components. And then I'm going to make 2 inserts that go in here. And I think I already cut them out, but I don't have them handy. But it'll slide in like so. And as it's stopping right there because of my glue line, just like I wanted it to. The other thing is, if you don't want to put the glue line in the middle, is you can have just one large insert that kind of sticks out on both sides. It's a different way to do it. Up to you, but this is the way I planned it, so that's the way I want to put it in. That's the way I want to go ahead and install it, since it's the way I designed it originally. Now I've got my bits here. We'll start laying those in, and I have to think about what I trimmed this out. Okay, I got to make an adjustment, but I think we're okay. So I think I'm going to use these on the very outside, if I recall correctly. And then I've got these 2 lined up, and then I've got what do I have here? I've got this. Boop. Nope, that's not it. I think that was my cover. There we go. That, and then this is going to be like so. Okay, so there's some consistency here. So these are just one piece trimmed, or it's not exactly right. Yeah, it is. So it's just a continuous. It's not exactly the same. It's going to be offset a little bit, but it's going to open like that. And then this is the interior. So let's start by laying down these 2 edge pieces. So these edge pieces are just one side of the 12 by 12. Everything on this page is being done with parts of a 12 by 12. And I think I'm trying to decide if I want the wood out, this little wood trim on the outside or the inside. And I think I want it this way. Now, this should be trimmed down small enough that it can slide right into your pocket, like so. Okay, that looks good. That's what I'm gonna do. I'd already inked it, so I'll go ahead and lay it down. Now, I've talked about this before, but I'll remind you again too, the side that's actually gonna slide into the pocket, you wanna not put glue all the way down to the edge, because if you push it too far in and have to drag it back, you don't wanna leave a trail of glue. So this way, if you over push it and have to pull it back, you're not, there's no risk of glue in your pocket closed. I like this paper. This has been real fun to work with. It's very masculine. This would make a great Father's Day project. Oops, almost put it up. All right now, I like both. What am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna use this side. It's a little bit different. Okay. Not centered. Little excess glue there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, now we can start working on this. Actually, I almost did the wrong thing. This is the one that goes down. I don't want part of a fox showing, so this is the one that's going to be on the cover, and that's the back. So you have to check. Again, this is from the 12 by 12. Dry fit that one more time. Yeah, that's going to work. Okay. Go like so. Okay, there's some words on it. I was just making sure the words were in the right direction. That I wasn't putting it in upside down. So again, I'm using 12 by 12 and 8 by 8s in this album. And what's the other thing? And I'm also going to use the die cuts that come with this collection to embellish the album. I'm going to put contrast here. I'm having a hard time seeing. There we go. I think this needs to be just a little smaller. I'll do that real quick. Okay, I'm going to re-ink my edge. Lovely. Okay, just want to make sure it's going to close and not have hinge interference. I forgot to put a magnet in. Oh my goodness. Terrible, terrible. So now I got to think about that. That's upside down for one thing. All right, I forgot to put a magnet in, and I definitely want to hold this closed with a magnet. So I'm going to camouflage it under here. Probably just going to cut a patch of paper, and then I'm going to have the opposing magnet on top. That was not very smart. Ugh, I tell you. I know you guys hear this all the time, but I feel like it's such a mess when I take a few days off. Can't seem to get it together. All right, so I need a magnet down here. So I am just going to go ahead and lay it on here, and I'm going to cover it up with one of the cut-aparts. There's tons in this collection, so I'm going to cover it up with one of the cut-aparts. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape on there. Now I'm going to go get, in a few minutes, I'm going to go get my little bag of tricks to cover that magnet up. Okay, and we're going to put this on. And I need a contrast sheet because I can't see the edge of that. There we go. Okay, so when I put this magnet down, you know, normally I put my fat tape over it to soften the edges, and I didn't do that. I put a double-sided on the other side. And the reason I did that is since I have to mask this, I really don't know how big what I'm going to put over it is yet. So if I can, I'm going to cover it with double-sided tape, but I might not be able to. I'll have to look and see the size of what I choose to cover it with. So I'd cut these strips to go here, and originally I had made this a little bit wider. So I need to go back and retrim these strips. Originally it was a 1/2 inch, and now it's, excuse me, 1 inch. So I'm gonna go trim 2 1-inch strips and come back with a solution to cover the magnet. Okay, I've trimmed out these 2 pieces to go on either side, and I like the way that looks. And you can see I cut the pattern apart. You don't have to do that. Actually, I don't think that's the way it goes. I think it goes... nope, maybe I had it right. This way, it just needs to be, you know, 2 contrasting pieces. So I did a rough cut, so I'm going to do some pencil marks and trim this down to fit perfect, and we'll get this in. And then I brought my bag of goodies to help us figure out how we want to cover the magnet. And this, because I have the die cuts, we have lots of choices. Okay, let's see if this works. Hopefully, yes. A little more. This is where it's getting down to that size where it's hard to handle. Okay, let's try that one more time. Hopefully that works. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Well, should I? Do they both? Nope, this one needs to be. Okay, let's get this in and then we'll measure the other one. Okay. Okay, so those are in. That looks nice. I'm really happy with that. And again, we're gonna have some inserts. And actually, now that I think about it, this is my bag of goodies. So this is the bag of cut-aparts, and I haven't even used everything. But I think, yeah, I did. I'd already used some of the cut-aparts because these are planned to go in these pockets. So these are really just trimmed down to fit. So it turns out that this is 7.5 by 5 and just under 5/8. So it's a little less, a little more than 5.5 inches, just a little bit. And like I said, I just really trimmed it to fit based on these cut-aparts. And so one is gonna go on each side. And I have more of these for the next page that's the same design. So that's gonna work like that. Now we have to cover this magnet. And again, like I said, I have this bag of goodies. I have tons of stuff. So there's the 12 by 12 cutouts. And by the way, these cards are from the 12 by 12. So you'll need them. And these are the other 2 cards that I used for the next page that's designed the same way. So you'll need the 12 by 12 for these cards, or you'll have to cover them with an alternative pattern from the 8 by 8, but it won't fit, right? You'll have to do something different. But there's tons of these little cut-aparts, and these are these are the little. So for example, I want to back up and show you this. This is from the 12 by 12, and this is from the 8 by 8. So you can still use the little one in here, but it's pretty small. Okay. So anyways, you wind up with all these little cut-aparts, and this is from the 12 by 12 collection pack. You get the same cut-aparts in the 8 by 8, just a much smaller scale. So we have a couple of different options, you know, that we can stick on top of here. We can go with something kind of wide or something very small like this. And that's why I didn't put the tape on top of it, because I really wasn't sure what I was going to use here. And there's another option. There's just tons of these little cut apart. So I've already cut them apart, inked them, and backed them with cardstock. So I think I'm leaning toward natural vibes. So that's what I think I'll do. So I'll put these back in my bag. And my plan is to put some double-sided tape on that whole thing and then tape it down. But I'm going to take one more close look at it before I do that to make sure the magnet's not going to be exposed on either side, and it's not. So I think what I'm going to do is put double-sided tape from here over, so about halfway through. And that way, if I want, something can slide slightly behind it. That's what I'll do. I'm going to use my 5/8 tape. Actually, it looks like I might be able to use a wider tape. Can I? Nope. Don't think so. It's too wide. It's close. I actually might be able to do that. I'm going to try to use the wide, and if I have to, I'm going to trim it. Okay, it fits. So that worked. And again, we're only going to cover from the magnet over to the edge. And that way we can slightly tuck something behind it. And that's still open. Okay, so that's in. So that's how we covered up our magnet. We are good to go. Okay. All right, so that is it for page 2. Let's go over it again. We've got our 2 inserts, 1 and 2, and then we've got a flap that opens left and right. Okay, that is it for page 2. Okay, see you guys soon.